Previously on Y&R Chat. Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, December 10th, 2017. You guys, we've got to do something to save Chancellor Park. I'm the head of this company. I'm John Abbott's son. JT's arrival might not just be about visiting Reed. More and more, he's cheating on her and he's not going to stop. Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, December 17th, 2017. I don't know if we need a Y&R episode recap. You wanna know why? Because we watch Y&R. Like, there's just something about it that feels so unnecessary. So this week, we started out Wednesday's episode with this recap of highlights of the previous episode and also of key plot points. And at first, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. There's something about it that just, I don't know, it's almost like a dumbing down of the storyline or the plot line. I was viewing it as sort of the Cliff's Notes version of Y&R or the Y&R for dummies. It just seemed so unnecessary. I don't really need to have all of that recap because I'm following along with the story, and there was a part of me that felt like it took away some of the fun of being able to connect the key plot points on my own and make these connections and being clued in on the important connections myself. The important moments are things that I like to pick up on my own. I don't really need them served to me on a silver platter. And plus, as the week went on, I started to realize that, hey, this whole preview thing is not only maybe a little bit annoying, but it's replacing the next on Y&R previews of the episode to come. And that is such a bummer to me. I will admit that when that first started happening, I mean, we only have had the next on Y&R sequence at the end of each show for probably, I mean, what would you say, 5 years? I don't think it's been 10. That's a fairly recent addition to the show. And at first, when it came up, 5 or 10 years ago, whenever it was, I remember thinking, I don't really like this. I don't like to be spoiled, and it was different. I mean, I think maybe sometimes as hardcore fans, we just naturally don't like things that are different. I mean, you're getting ready to settle into your Y&R and you like your routine, you like the things how you like them, and all of a sudden they're switching it up on you, and it's easy to have a negative reaction to that, which is probably what's happening to me right now. But I remember not loving the episode preview, but over time, I thought it was kind of nice. Like, it's a hook to get the viewer to come back for more. I mean, it was a nice top off from each episode's cliffhanger to give you a little insight into what's going to happen next. And they've used that Y&R preview space to trick us a couple of times into thinking something was going to happen. I mean, I just thought it was a neat little tool in our Y&R toolbox, and I'm sad that it's gone. So I don't know, that's my opinion on it. What do you guys think about it? That's our poll question this week. I would love to get some discussion on how you feel about the episode recap at the beginning of the show, how you feel about no longer having the episode preview. So on each episode, let's say you have to pick. Would you rather have the recap to kind of refresh your memory of what's gone on, or would you rather have a preview at the end of the episode? Go to yrchat.com. Let me know which one of those segments you like better if you had to pick. And also, just let's sound off. Let's get some good points about it, some bad points about it, and get a discussion going around the new format. the one place that I really did appreciate the recap, I'm thinking about the first one on Wednesday's episode, because that was the one to me that was the first one. It was the most obvious, and I did appreciate that they used that space to provide a flashback of JT and Victoria's relationship. That was the one thing inside of that recap package that to me felt like useful information to a regular viewer, but that totally could have been accomplished inside of a flashback within the episode. JT could have walked into Victor's office and there could have been a moment between he and Victoria where their relationship montage was occurring to both of them and getting a sense of all of those feelings coming back. But instead, it was really bizarre that on Wednesday's episode they have, or sorry, I think it was on Tuesday's episode, was it? They have this weird cliffhanger where Victoria and Victor are in his office. JT's walking through the door saying, "Hello, Victor. Hello, Victoria." It's a very dramatic moment. Cut to the following episode and Victoria's sitting at the athletic club and JT's approaching her there. So we had this gap where this dramatic moment was created and then it just absolutely went away. There was no payoff. I wanted to see what were the first words between them. What was said? What was Victor's reaction to see JT walking through the door? I mean, for crying out loud, JT was the one who called this meeting. JT insisted that both Victor and Victoria be there to a meeting that he was late for, and then nothing. We get absolutely no payoff. I really didn't like that, on top of the fact that this whole recap thing, I mean, I don't like the gap in space, and the recap thing just felt weird. This is another reason why I like that Y&R Chat is independent, because I feel that if I was on Y&R's payroll, I would have to say, this is such a great idea. I would have to take the company line and say, this is a great way to engage new viewers and allow people to get into the show without having to watch it for 20 years, or, you know, but I feel like they were doing a good job of doing that anyway. I don't know why they needed to do this recap to keep casual viewers up to speed. Like, I don't need that. Oh, Y&R. I liked the old format. I liked seeing the things that, you know, seeing these big dramatic moments that have been built up. I don't need it. I don't know. That just seemed like such a letdown to me. What's up, Mal? Newman Enterprises is under a full investigation for suspicious transactions that took place in Victor's personal bank accounts. He and the company are undergoing an audit, and JT is revealed to be the auditor. Apparently, he has been away taking forensic accounting courses, and Paul called him in as an interested party, I guess. He was someone who was on the inside at Newman Enterprises for a somewhat brief period, really. He was the head of Newman Security. It's such a total conflict of interest. He was married to Victoria. It's not just that he was a head of security. He was married to the boss's daughter. So it's surprising that Paul would have specifically picked JT, but it was good to see him. I think, first of all, we just have to address some of the elephants in the room. It is weird to me that they would cast Thad Luckenbill to come back on the show right as he's been getting divorced from Amelia Heinle, who plays Victoria. So Victoria and JT were married IRL, and they just recently divorced within the last year, and now they're bringing her ex-husband back onto the show. I cannot help but divorce the idea of these two actors having been married from the drama that's going on the show. It's hard to not think about that. Is it awkward for them? I mean, certainly they must share a close relationship. Sometimes things just don't work out, but you can go on and you can be friends. I hope that's the situation. If not, maybe there's some juicy drama going on behind the scenes too. So that's kind of fun to think about. The other elephant in the room that needs to be addressed is, I like JT. I like the way he looks, but we need a tighter haircut on this man. Like, we need to someone needs to come in there and shape and style that hair. I'm not a hair expert, but he's got way too many flyaways going on. I've always kind of had an issue with his hair. I want a tight haircut on him. He always lets it go a little too shaggy. It's not long and it's not short. It's just always in that in-between stage. Just cut it. I'm sorry, but it's how I feel. Otherwise, I think he looks very good, and I think that there's a lot of potential there. It's been a while since we've seen him. He's a character that we've seen grow from a teen on the show to being an adult, a man, and being involved in, a leading man on the show and all of the drama and things. So it is interesting to pick up with him. It's also going to be so interesting to see how Victoria interacts with him. She is obviously trying very, very hard to balance between what's going on professionally and the situation at Newman Enterprises with the audit and everything that's happened in their relationship, including how JT sued her for full custody of Reed and won. And there's also that element of knowing that the main reason that JT sued Victoria for that full custody is because he wanted Reed to be as far away from Victor Newman as possible. So now he has some negative relationship with Victor, and it's a very big deal. That's another reason why I just can't believe that we didn't get to see the scene of Victor's reaction to JT coming back in town. What a missed opportunity. I imagine that that's going to happen down the road, especially considering he is the investigator. Victoria is in a unique position, of course, because she can kind of try to talk to JT and draw some things out of him. He does end up revealing to Victoria that the reason there is such scrutiny on Victor's personal accounts is because there were some transactions that were conducted that took money out of Victor's personal account and put large amounts of money, I think, and put them mysteriously into some offshore account. So this has happened. This has rocked Victoria's world a little bit. It's rocked her vision of her father. She feels that she's in close with him, that she is his right hand, and she doesn't understand, why he would do something like this. She does confront him about it. Of course, he tries to explain it away, but it's a big deal for her and her sense of family and of her business self. She's able to keep it all together around JT surprisingly well. She remains very cordial with him. She even invites him back to her home. That's where their son lives. So she invites him back there to see Reed. And at the house, there was this unusually comfortable conversation, I would say, almost with Victoria and JT. They were really very friendly with one another, almost too friendly. I was suspicious of it. I kept thinking that JT was maybe almost trying to make his life sound too good. Like he was pretending that everything is great with his relationship with Mac and they've got these kids and everything's going well with his family with Mackenzie, but maybe it's not fine. Maybe there is some darkness in that household, and maybe that's why Reed wanted to get away from him. Reed is so clearly not wanting to have anything to do with JT. He had run away from JT and his family so that JT wouldn't drag him to Poland. So and that would have been a useful maybe flashback to have. Something like that could have been something to include in the preview package, I suppose. Like understanding what that relationship is between Reed and JT, even though I understand it. There's nothing like being a snobby geek fan of something. Well, JT's sitting there waiting for Reed to show up, and over time he realizes the kid's not coming. Reed is clearly dodging JT, and JT got very frustrated over it. There was just almost something about him in that moment where he seemed a little brooding over it. Like this kid really got up under his skin. He was really not happy about it. Well, while in reality, it's also it's such a really good connection to think about the ways that JT and Reed are so very similar. JT back in the day was he was a musician. He was also a guitar player. He was also involved with a girl where the parents did not like him, and Colleen. I mean, it's almost identical to what's going on right now with Reed. That's a connection that I hadn't really made before, that Reed really is quite a bit like his father. And there was a wonderful conversation later in the week between JT and Reed where JT tried to explain to his son, I understand, I look at you and I see myself in a younger version, and a lot of me being hard on you is just me trying to save you from making some of the same mistakes that I made. Great line where Reed, I think, was asking him, well, what were those mistakes? And JT said something like, well, your mom hasn't told me of any of them, or so it sounds like you haven't made any of them yet, so I'm not going to fill you in, but it was just a nice little warming up of that very frigid relationship. I also really enjoyed JT's interaction with Kane throughout the week. So JT and Kane are the fathers of our Romeo and Juliet in Reed and Maddie. And so JT and Kane sat down at the athletic club. They were talking, they were catching up. I really enjoyed those scenes. I thought, you know, these two guys seem like two guys that would have a really good friendship. I don't specifically, oddly, I remember a fair amount about JT, but I really don't remember his relationship with Kane. They had mentioned something like, I can't remember, Kane saved JT from, what was it, an electrocution or a lightning strike or something. Apparently there was some storyline where Kane saved JT's life. If anybody remembers that specifically, I'd love to have a little recap on that. I don't remember it at all, but I thought it was nice that to see JT asking Kane to lighten up on Reed a little bit, and it just, I don't know, it did a good job of connecting things together. Those two guys just, they really kind of gave me this sexy cowboy vibe. I was digging it. I was definitely digging it. I could go for more of that. Can we get some tight jeans up in here? One dot that I did not connect at all, I didn't even think about Kevin's number fudging being at all connected to Victor's FBI audit, but it was not the nefarious work that Kevin did on Victor's behalf. It was some nefarious work that Kevin did to Victor at Nikki's request. This week, Nikki confesses to Victoria what she's done. She's asked Kevin to help her transfer these funds from Victor's account to an offshore account in order to get back at Victor. I guess teach him a lesson, beat him in his own game. When did that even happen? At what point did Nikki come up with this plan? Was it last week after she was with Kevin at the Chancellor Mansion, ripping him a new one for doing that to her, for hacking into her bank accounts? And did Kevin just do it? Did Kevin just get himself into this mess just because he felt guilty about what he did to her? I don't know. That just came absolutely out of nowhere. It almost feels out of character that Nikki would try to do that and that Kevin would agree to help her. I'm not sure, but Nikki's in totally deep trouble now. I mean, she got herself into a situation and can't get herself out. She thought she was going to best Victor Newman, and she's done a really poor job of doing it. She is in deep trouble, realizing that all of this is going to be traced back to her. It's only going to be a matter of time until the authorities connect her to that transaction, which is bad timing considering her gun was just found at a crime scene. Way to go, Nikki. This brilliant plan, it was brilliant. Bravo. This brilliant plan that you just probably came up with 3 days ago was brilliant. But Nikki confides in Victoria, hoping there's some way out of this, and Victoria's trying. She's trying to find a way out for everyone. She knows it's bad news for the entire family. I did chuckle a little bit at Billy's suggestion that Victoria should maybe seduce JT to get what she wanted. That's not exactly Victoria's style. She's a little bit more of a straight shooter. She does take the information to JT, tells him everything, hoping that he's going to have some mercy on her mother, but instead, he lets her know that he's not going to be able to protect Nikki from the law, and no one is going to be able to protect Nikki from Victor once he finds out that all of this was just a ploy to teach him a lesson. Lucky for you, Y&R, I do not need an episode recap sequence to help me put together the pieces that Victor's gonna find a way, once he finds out about this, to take the heat off of Nikki, put it onto himself, and regain her love and adoration for at least another 2 to 3 months until something else comes between them. Nick came up with a pretty good idea for saving Chancellor Park. He asked Devon to buy it out from under Victor, but an anonymous bidder came in and outbids them both, outbids Devon and outbids Victor. So who could it be? Who is the anonymous bidder? I did initially think that maybe it was Jack, but he made a comment, I think it was to Hillary, where he seemed a little surprised about the whole thing. He didn't seem to indicate that he had any knowledge about anything that was going on with Chancellor Park. So then I thought, well, maybe it's Jill. I know that she is due to come back within the next couple of weeks, and she would most certainly be an interested party in making sure that Catherine's legacy was preserved. Plus, her company, Chancellor Industries, is on the rise. They are moving and shaking and making deals and buying things, and I think it's great. I should have probably predicted that something was going to be up with Kane and Chancellor Industries after Kane and Victoria had their reconciliation, although Kane did kind of badmouth Victoria to JT. I don't know, I got a bad feeling JT and Victoria's relationship could go south before it goes north, but Kane and Chancellor Industries are throwing their hat into the Genoa City business Shark Tank. He's getting involved in things. He's had this really great article that's been published on him and how well the company is doing, and it's like Kane is already nipping at Jabot and Newman Enterprises' heels just in the course of this week. He's also really annoying Billy in the process. I can kind of understand why Billy is not happy to see Kane taking all of this positive attention from Chancellor Industries. I mean, Chancellor is his mother's company, and it is probably still a little bit odd the way that Jill has given all of this power to what Billy sees as someone who is a fraudster. Kane came into town pretending to be her dead son, and Jill found a way to not only forgive him, but to treat him like a son, which is, I think, something that maybe Billy has always really wanted from her. I think he wants something more from her than he's ever been able to get. I think Billy has always felt a little bit like an afterthought to Jill. Like, she shipped him off to boarding school. She just tries to run his life. And maybe Kane has the relationship with Jill that Billy wishes he could have. You know what? I just have a feeling that maybe Billy is going to get up in that business. Although, admittedly, I am enjoying Billy's current life of leisure. He's an independently wealthy man, no worries, no job. He is just making it his mission to distract Phyllis from her job. I absolutely love Billy and Phyllis this week. I think they are just so much fun, and they are just sexy all the way to space. It's not high drama, it's just quirky and entertaining, and it puts a smirk on my face. Billy is texting Phyllis. He's making suggestive text messages to Phyllis during her business meeting. She is literally sitting there trying to focus on having a business meeting at the athletic club, and he's over at the bar texting all the things he would like to do with her later, and she's trying to focus, but she is unable to resist looking at the phone while trying to have this conversation. It was really great acting on both ends. I thought Billy was he was just charming, and I think that Phyllis did a really good job too. I felt it. I was there. I was frustrated along with them. Those two are just pure chemistry. I love it. But you know that Billy is not going to be satisfied sitting there on the sidelines while Kane is taking all of these accolades. And it does seem... The interesting thing is that Billy has been enjoying his life of leisure, but the thing that really got up under his skin this week was Kane and also JT. These two are Billy don't like them. And I just have a feeling that Billy's not going to be able to resist sitting there on the sidelines. How much do you want to bet that Jill is going to come back into town within the next week or two and ask Billy to work alongside of Kane at Chancellor Industries? Do you think that's a possibility? What would you think about that? Would you like to see that? I mean, I think Billy is going to pick a side. I have a feeling that Chancellor is going to throw their hat into the cosmetics ring and really become a contender. So we're going to have a three-way business battle. I love this. Between Newman and Chabot and Chancellor. And Billy's going to have to fit in somewhere. But Chancellor is his mother's company, but Chabot is his father's company. Where would you like to see him? Where does Billy belong? Does he belong at Chancellor or does he belong at Chabot with the Abbotts? Jack surprises Ashley with the new lab this week. We haven't seen it yet, but he gives her a copy, I guess, of the blueprints or the plan or something. He's building her a state-of-the-art research lab. I thought it was a really nice gesture. This is something that he's had in the works for months now, and I think he's trying to make nicey nice after the big blow up they had last week. Look, a nice orchid is not going to do it all on his own. The other card that he has to come into play is this gesture of a new lab. I mean, I'm looking forward to potentially seeing a new set. I think that would be fantastic, but Ashley is still mad at him, and I think rightfully so. And on top of it all, she sees this new lab gift as just a way of Jack relegating her to the basement of Chabot while he is running Chabot as the CEO from the Abbott living room, probably with Dina lighting Post-it notes on fire in the background. It is a recipe for disaster. Dina wandered in. I mean, Jack's trying to conduct business. He's having this video conference call with an important buyer, and Dina wanders into the background, sees the woman on the screen, thinks it's Tracy, and is like, "Hi, Tracy." I mean, it was very, very unprofessional. See, I see, once again, I know I keep suggesting this, but I really feel like a little bit of professional help would help the family. They have enough money to hire someone to maybe come in and provide some extra care for Dina so that Jack can get some work done. Maybe he works, maybe an important business conference call like that could be done in a locked office while a nurse kind of helps, or like, you don't even have to look at it like a nurse. You could hire a personal assistant for Dina and say, you pick your personal assistant. This person's going to help you out and, you know, and you know, help tend to whatever your desire is, you know, create some activities for you, do some, you know, take you out shopping, whatever it is you want to do. I think that would be a reasonable, although not dramatic solution to the situation. The drama, of course, comes with all of these things that Dina is doing, including all of these delightfully catty remarks that she's exchanging with Gloria. Gloria is the new Nikki. She is the new woman in Jack's life that Dina doesn't approve of. I just have a feeling that Mal identified immediately Victor and Nikki need to be reunited, and the fans seemed interested in Jack and Gloria. Whether Jack and Gloria end up taking it to a serious romantic level, there is something about that dynamic there that is absolutely entertaining. These two actors are way too good and have way too much chemistry between them, I think, to just pass that up. So Gloria is right there in Jack's life, doing everything to help him manage this difficult situation, while Dina is baiting her in the background. Go ahead and call a bitch a bitch. Oh, I mean, who could resist that? Oh, being around Dina is a little bit like being around a yo-yo. Sometimes she's up, sometimes she's down. In one breath, she is providing useful information to Jack about the business news. Like, she's actually being helpful, and she's being positive. But then in the very next breath, she's turning around and telling Jack that his father John was always disappointed by him. I mean, we know that's not true. What a vicious thing to say. That, I mean, I understand it's the disease talking, but you know, that's what Jack's weakness is. Jack's absolute character weakness is, his Achilles heel is thinking that he has not lived up to the legacy and will never live up to the legacy of being John Abbott Jr. And she, I don't know, I don't know in her diseased mind if she knew that, but she just honed in on that weak spot and said that to him, that, you know, that John always told me that he was disappointed in you, which we all know is not true. I bet that really pissed my friend Anna off. John Abbott is her all-time favorite character, and I know she had a hard time accepting Dina coming back anyway, but I bet that really ticked you off, Anna, because we know that didn't happen. We know that John was not like that. He never would have said that to Dina or anyone else about Jack. I don't think that John was, I think he was someone who was about forgiveness. I don't think he would have said that, but after hearing that come out of his mother's mouth, Jack is now bound and determined more than ever to come out on top. He wants to beat Newman Enterprises now. He wants to beat Chancellor Industries now, and maybe being the sole sponsor of a popular local TV show will help give him an upper hand to use against the competition. Jabot is the new sponsor of the Hillary Hour. So far, Jack has been insisting that Hillary keep all of the stories on the up and up. I guess that's one way to force Hillary to pull back her reins. It's interesting, isn't it, to see how particularly touched Hillary is by Kane's little miracle baby, Sam. She is just loving up on Sam and Kane like she's the proud mama, right? She's standing there fawning over pictures of the baby with Jack. It's a new twist. It's a new little facet to Hillary's character, but that's also kind of, it should be Lily's spot to occupy, right? Shouldn't Lily be the one that's there for Kane? Shouldn't Lily be the one fawning over these baby pictures, a baby whose life she helped to save? But that's not really what's going on. Lily is struggling right now. The divorce is still not finalized, and that is hanging over her head like a sword of Damocles. What happened with Juliet's death changed things. It's sad to say for her, but it absolutely changed things. She was wanting to divorce Kane in part because it was too difficult for her to stomach the idea of a life of, you know, being married to this man while he's raising a young baby with someone else. But now that's not the situation. Things have changed, and she has this very convenient opportunity to start all over again with the man that she loves. Lily still loves Kane. She never stopped. He's living at the Chancellor mansion though, and he's trying to balance his new career with being a new dad. He's hiring nannies, and I think Kane is trying to improve himself. I think he's trying to focus on being a better person, and Lily sees all of that. She sees everything that he's doing now, and I think she feels a little bit left out. You know, she's reaching out to him now. She's asked him to go out to dinner with her. He's too busy, so he ends up turning her down. And I don't think that it's because he doesn't want her by any means. I think that Kane just stopped counting on Lily's forgiveness. And now he just doesn't even consider that her forgiveness is a possibility. He's having really no choice but to move on. He has done everything that Lily has asked him to do, backing off from her, giving her her space, and now she's realizing that maybe that's not what she wants. Scott whisks Abby away to a private meeting out of the office under the guise of letting her know that she was inadvertently the mole that leaked Newman's bid for Chancellor Park out into the public. It was so contrived. It was such an excuse just to get her alone. He could have said any of that with a phone call. He could have said any of that at the office or any other place, but instead they're in the Chancellor Park outdoor cafe. They're standing up. She's like, oh, it's a little bit cold here. He's grabbing her hands. I cannot believe this. Bringing her hands up to his mouth to blow warm air on her hands to keep her warm, as if it's a freaking frozen tundra out there. And oh, I might get frostbite. I mean, who does that? Please, who does that? That is such an intimate action, especially to be taking in public. But it's just that right there said, I want to touch her. I need to touch her. I mean, do you ever do that? Are you standing outside at your work and like you look at your co-worker over there just a little bit chilly and you're like, hey, Andrea, you want me to blow on your hands? You look a little cold. Come here, I'll blow on your hands. Keep you warm. I mean, come on. It was just so ridiculous. Faith has taken a taxi to the park, and she ends up seeing the whole thing. She just witnesses Scott going in for the blow, and then them falling into a kiss. I mean, it's like another kiss. It's happening again, and this time it's Faith that sees the whole thing. Well, here's the thing that really bothers me. You know what? I can't believe it happened. It's about time somebody caught on to the whole thing. And this is what really bothers me. A few hours later, Scott goes back to Sharon's house like nothing happened. I'm looking at him. I'm watching him walk around the house. It's like it didn't even happen. He's kissing Abby again, going home to Sharon, and he's like ready to throw her a celebration. He's ready to like party, have a dinner with her, get out some flowers. They're exchanging I love yous, but it was painfully obvious to the audience and to Sharon that he was a little hesitant on the I love you part. It's like he's like disconnected. It's like a cognitive dissonance, you know? Like he knows what he just did. He damn well knows he was just kissing Abby. And then he's coming home to her, acting like everything's all hunky-dory, listening to her profess her love to him. And that was the thing that jogged him back into reality, where he had to actually think a minute and say, wait, do I love her? Do I say it back? You got to. You got to. He said it back, but it was so obvious that it wasn't the I love you too that Sharon was looking for. And now he's avoiding her at every chance Sharon is literally having to track him down. I mean, he's avoiding her when they live under the same roof. That's kind of hard. But so she has to track him down and force him to talk about the awkwardness. And he is obviously awkward. I felt so bad for Sharon. She said, you don't want to talk to me. It was weird. Now you're dodging me. I assume that you knew that I felt this way and that you felt this way too, or I wouldn't have asked you to move in otherwise. It's so cruel of Scott to, and maybe this is just another one of those time warp gaps that we're getting in the writing and the presentation of the show, but it's cruel of Scott to let there be this awkward moment between them and then to avoid her, leaving her just to wonder. That's cruel. He's clueless. He started talking to her about, I guess I thought this was, I've never really been in a relationship like this before. I thought that this was just a different kind of relationship, I guess. I just thought we were living together. I didn't know that this had to be about love. I thought this was just what people did. How humiliating for Sharon. How humiliating and how hurtful. I felt her emotions right there. She's being cheated on. And then I just feel like it's just cruel. It's just cruel. And then for him to turn it all around, he always has this way of turning it all around. In the next breath, when she questions him, he's vowing his deep and abiding love for her. Well, how did he go from kissing Abby to cringing away from Sharon's affection to pledging his love to Sharon all in the span of a couple of days? It doesn't make any sense. I'm having a hard time trusting Scott at this point. All week I'm just wishing that Faith would bust him. But unusually, I'm playing a little bit against type here. Faith is playing it cool. She's not speaking to Scott. She's not engaging with Scott in any way. She's trying to avoid being around him, and everyone is noticing it. Everybody sees that Faith is acting weird around Scott all of a sudden, but no one can get an answer out of her. You know what? If Faith is acting a little funny around and about Mommy's live-in boyfriend, then somebody needs to talk to this child. Something could be going on. He could be hurting her. He's not. I know that's taking it to an extreme, but it kind of felt like there's obviously something wrong here. Somebody needs to get to the bottom of it. Somebody needs to talk to her. Faith is just not wanting to tell this secret to Sharon, in part, of course, because it's going to hurt her, but also because she knows it's going to bust her out for taking a taxi cab to the park when she shouldn't have been there in the first place. Thank goodness Mariah had enough sense to press. This is not great parenting on Sharon's part. Not gonna lie. She's not inquiring about the problem at all. The only person that's inquiring is Mariah. Finally, Mariah coaxes the information out of Faith. Faith tells her, I saw Scott kissing Abby and he was really kissing her. It wasn't like a peck on the cheek. There was hand blowing and a kiss. Oh, I was glad that Faith finally opened up to Mariah. And Mariah, not gonna lie, I wanted Mariah to blow it up immediately. But Mariah goes to Sharon and she does try to test out the waters a little bit. She kind of tries cluing Sharon in. She says to her, do you ever get the feeling like maybe Scott's trying too hard? And I thought, well, you know what? That just sums it up. That nailed it. You nailed it, Mariah. What's going on with Scott right now is that he's trying too hard, as if he's overcompensating. That's exactly what he's doing. It all clicked for me in that moment. But like Faith, Mariah doesn't want to come right out and tell Sharon what's going on, that she knows there's more going on between he and Abby, so she just confronts Scott a little bit instead. She goes to Scott, tells him she knows, she has this information, she knows what's going on between them, but once again, Scott does his very best tap dancing act. I think people want to believe Scott because he's on the surface just such an honorable guy. Nobody would believe that he would be dogging Sharon so blatantly. So he explains his way out of it, claiming that he loves Sharon, and Mariah kind of buys it a little more than I would. She threatens him, which is great, saying, you know what, I just kidnapped a woman to help out a girl that I barely know. You have no idea how far I'm willing to go to protect my mother if you keep up this whole act, or if you keep doing this, if you keep going forward with this affair with Abby. But that's so much kinder than I would have been. It's so much kinder than I think Mariah should have been. Wherever even if Scott was doing this and now is totally turned around, it's still terrible footing for a relationship and a life together to be built on. You know, it's not a good foundation. I hope that he does not freak out and just overcompensate with Sharon by proposing to her. That is not what I want to see whatsoever, but I almost kind of wonder if that's what he's going to do. That's why I think that Mariah really needed to bust this up right now. It would be better for Sharon to get hurt now than later when she's really, really, really involved with him. Mariah, you cannot save Sharon from hurt. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do to save Sharon or anybody else from getting hurt. Look at the situation already. Abby's hurt in all of this. I really appreciated the fact that Abby's kind of left in the dark. So now she's got this man who is involved with another woman and that she is attracted to, pursuing her. He is pursuing her. The way he dragged her to that park is pursuing her. And so she's thinking, well, are we going to do this thing? Like, are we going to, continue this relationship? Because I don't want to be the woman in the middle. And she sat down and talked to Lily about it. Apparently they're great friends. I don't know when that happened, but fine. I loved Lily's advice, though. She said to her, you need to force him to choose. Don't be the other woman. Do not allow him to sit there, have his cake, and eat it too. And she does. Abby does go to him, and she does force him to choose, and he chooses Sharon. He chooses Sharon. He tells Abby the whole thing between us was a mistake. Yes, there's an attraction, but the reasons that we shouldn't be together are bigger than that. Which, that's a logic that I can agree with that. I agree with the logic, but as they say, the heart and the crotch want what it wants. Just a quick little follow-up. Ashley manages to march right over to Victoria's office immediately upon Ravi telling her that he is quitting and going to Newman Enterprises. And Ashley tells Victoria in no uncertain terms that she cannot have Ravi. And you want to know why? Because if you even so much as think about issuing a paycheck to this man, I am going to sue your butt. Ravi has a non-compete contract with Jabot, so he's not going anywhere. Well, I liked seeing Ashley in charge. I mean, that was a good thing about it, but it also made me feel like Ashley is just dominating Ravi's life in every single way, as if Ashley was saying to him, "Aw, that's cute that you tried to go and make a decision for yourself. Now get back to work and meet me at the hotel later. I'm gonna go slay some dragons." That was last week's Who Said It quote. It was Nick who said that to Chelsea regarding saving Chancellor Park from the bad guys. I'm gonna go slay those dragons. I think maybe that was before he realized that Victor was the dragon, but that certainly didn't deter him. 8 of you guessed that one. I thought it was a cute little quote, and I'm glad that you guys heard it too. Lynn, Ambreen, Aaron, Rose, Henry, Tony, Jamie, and Justin all got that right. Congratulations. And then here's our quote for this week. Teamwork makes the dream work. It kind of sounds like it should be on a motivational poster. Teamwork makes the dream work. Do you know who said it? If so, you can go to yrchat.com to leave me your guess. And if you get it right, I'll give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Okay, it's comment time. Following up on my comments about Ravi and Ashley, Rose at yrchat.com says, am I supposed to think that it's sweet that Ashley fought Victoria to keep Ravi at Jabot and killed his Newman job offer. Ashley didn't care at all what Ravi wanted or thought was best for himself, so it doesn't seem sweet to me. It seems like a hostage situation. Nailed it, Rose. I totally agree. Viewed it completely the same way. I mean, it is really truly like Ravi's needs don't matter. I can understand her making that executive decision with Victoria, saying you're not going to do this, I will sue you. That's legitimate, but there was no follow-up with Ravi to ask him how he really feels. There's no saying, let's fix this. What can I do to help make this more comfortable for you? Or what can I do to help facilitate another type of job that would make you feel more comfortable? She doesn't care about him personally in a way, you know? It's just she's not zeroing in. I guess I shouldn't say that. I think she cares about him, but she's just being so insensitive to who he is and what he needs out of his life and his job and his career. I'm disappointed in her for that. So, another week has gone by and nothing about Tessa. Certainly nothing more about Mariah and Tessa. But last week, I asked you guys in our poll question if you would like to see Y&R keep Tessa on the show. 64% of you said, nah. Let's send her on a permanent concert tour. Yeah, I think part of the problem, I guess, with Tessa is that she's not really getting much airtime, right? In a way, I mean, I think I'm ready to say bye-bye at this point, and you know, partially probably because it seems like that's the direction the show is going to go, but she's just not on enough. Like, I'm not seeing enough of her to be able to understand who she is, where she is right now. And another problem is that I feel like in general the character is not connected to the other characters on the show. All she is at this point is Noah's girlfriend. She's no longer Nikki's confidant. She's blown that relationship. She's no longer Mariah's love interest, not even Mariah's friend. So she's just becoming more and more isolated, and to me that spells disaster for her character. I think she's gonna probably is gonna go off and work on her career here soon, unless Mal decides to switch that around. Sandra at yrchat.com commented about Tessa. I say send her packing. Unfortunately, I liked Tessa, but I don't anymore. She's become what we all speculated she was: shady, self-serving, and a bit manipulative. Mariah and Tessa have no chemistry anymore, so what's the point of her staying on? Sandra, I agree too with your comment that I used to like Tessa. I used to be totally into Tessa. It's another one of those relationships and moments and characters that could have been, and then like Ravi and Ashley in a way. It's just Y&R didn't strike while that iron was hot, and now it's kind of like meh. They could have written her either way. She didn't have to be shady and manipulative, but that seems to be the direction that they're taking it. Tony at yrchat.com says, I thought Tessa was looking for her sister, who is a youth, because she's always taking care of her sister. She really should go and find her, stay with her, see through her education, protect her. Why is Tessa not with her sister? Yes, Y&R built up Tessa as someone who was just fighting to protect this sister, and now the sister's on the run and Tessa doesn't really speak about it. They kind of told her, just don't speak about it. You're pretty much never going to see her again, so forget about it. Again, that's a directional choice by this writing team. I suppose we could rationalize it and say that Tessa is letting her sister, doesn't want to look for her sister so as not to unearth any suspicion or point anyone in her direction. We also, I suppose, could speculate that Tessa knows exactly where her sister is and is just not telling anyone, including the audience. Ellen at yrchat.com, always good for a different perspective, says, well, I hope Tessa stays. Since when is being shady a bad thing? Victor, Michael, Kevin, Phyllis, Gloria, Hillary, my beloved Adam, some of the best characters have been or still are shady. Tessa is different. She's not the same cookie cutter, dyed blonde, upper class soap character. I like her differences. The only other characters with some rough edges on the show are Mariah and Scott. Unfortunately, the writers are sabotaging Tessa, so she seems to be on the way out. I wonder if Scott maybe next, with Melissa Ordway / Abby out on maternity leave. Seems like their storyline will have to be on hold until they shot a lot in advance. You know, that is a totally fair point. I think I would like Tessa more if like they were giving me more reason to at this point. Like, I want to be on board with Tessa. I totally agree. She is not the cookie cutter. She is a little bit different, and I like an offbeat character. Absolutely. I think that Y&R's just not like trying to make me like her. Hey, by the way, you know what would be a good twist is if if they secretly somehow, I know we're always on this, but if Adam was the one who had secretly bid on Chancellor Park. Y&R did this big secret where Sheila came back, Bold and the Beautiful did a big secret where they brought Sheila back onto the show as a surprise. They literally had her cloaked, like, what, I don't know, in a blanket, hustling her into the studio to film these scenes so that it could be a big surprise for the viewers. Wouldn't it be great if they did the same with Adam and that was the big reveal? Come on, Mal, give me that. But regarding, you know, you kind of make the connection, Ellen, about the way that Tessa's character is headed and the way Scott's character is headed. We're seeing some of those same dynamics, right? Like, I'm not getting a lot of really redeemable points for Scott right now. He's kind of more on my bad side, and it's a really good point as to, or it's a really good maybe clue as to where the character is heading. I was reading an article in my Soaps in Depth, and it was an interview with Mal, and he was talking about some of the changes that he's making on the show, and he made a comment about really wanting to focus on the main characters, that he really sees our core families as where the spotlight should be, and it's the supporting characters around them who should be coming in and providing interest and change and opportunity for the main characters. Just really making a distinction about our supporting cast versus our main cast, and where does Scott fall on that spectrum? That's my question, because I think Scott he's given me supporting guy right now, which is giving me doomed to be cut. But in reality, Scott shouldn't be supporting guy. Scott should be main character. He is Lauren's son. Scott is a legacy character. We saw this character be born onto the show. This is not someone that they just brought in as a drifter from out of town that we decided to like. This is a legacy character, and yet he doesn't feel like Lauren's son to me. Do you guys get that? I mean, like, why are we not seeing scenes with Lauren and Michael? All we've seen from Lauren is her button up in his business, which doesn't really make me feel connected to Scott either. Like, I think that if we had more scenes with Lauren and Michael, maybe some family dinners, just something. I mean, the viewers love Lauren and Michael. Where the hell are they anyway? But if we had more of a reason to want to connect Scott to his family, that would help us, I think, see him as not an outsider, as a core character. About Abby. Mary Ann at YRChat.com says, Abby is as much of a love interest jinx for Y&R characters / actors as Noah is. When Abby was the Naked Heiress, she was with Daniel, who later left town. Later, she was engaged to Tyler, who disappeared from our screens. She had an affair with Summer's husband, Austin, who was murdered. She later married Stitch, and they divorced. Stitch, like Tyler, disappeared from our screens. Recently, there was Zach, who was shot by Crystal. Now, there's Scott. I don't know how popular Scott or the actor is currently, but the last Scott only lasted a year and was gone from our screens for over a decade. Will he go on a business trip to New York, or will he just cease to appear on our screen like Tyler or Stitch? I don't think he'll be killed off anytime soon, though, because he's Lauren's son. That is such an excellent recap, Marianne. I love that you pieced all of that together. A nice little history tie-in with where we're seeing the show right now in the direction of that character. Just excellent. I can't even top that. T. Nicole at YRChat.com says, I just love when characters want to secretly kiss in the public park. Like, who can catch us here? Totally agree. Daisy on Facebook says, I think Mariah should have told Sharon what Faith saw between Scott and Abby. By keeping silent, Mariah is not protecting her mother. She's protecting Scott, while her mother lives a lie, a big lie, as Scott betrayed Sharon on a very deep level. I wish that Mariah had given Scott an ultimatum. Either he tells Sharon what he did, or she will. Keeping silent will also hurt Faith. You can't ask a child to keep such a big secret to lie to her mother. Yes, I know, an ultimatum would have been so much more juicy. Harper left me a voicemail saying, I'm so disappointed about that it was Faith witnessing Scott and Abby kissing. Of all the people in Genoa City, why did it have to be her? Probably anybody else in town would have gone directly to Sharon. Why couldn't, yeah, I mean, there's could have been so many other people that would have saw that and it would have been good. Also, Harper says that, this is a good point, that Scott could have easily confessed to Sharon and easily explained away what happened in the storage locker by telling Sharon that he was experiencing PTSD and made a mistake. Yes. That would have been an easy way to be open with Sharon about it. Sharon deserves honesty is the point, whether it's from Scott or from Mariah or whoever. Anybody deserves honesty. James at YRChat.com says, a mystery buyer for Chancellor Park. Is it a new character or someone from the show's past? Tucker, maybe? I'm wondering if Jack has deep enough pockets to buy the park. He said to Hillary that he's determined to get Jabot back on top. Just how much money does Jack have? We all know Victor and Devon are billionaires, but we never hear Jack's name along with the billionaires. Does anyone have an idea? Yeah, I thought the same thing. It did occur to me that that Jack could be the bidder. It always kind of seems like Jack has to scrape together money. He doesn't seem quite as wealthy as Victor and Devon. Just, I don't know, I get that perception. But he was able to offer a multi-million-dollar reward for Abby's safe return just a couple of weeks ago. It could absolutely be him. And you did hone in on the fact that he's wanting to bring Jabot back to the top. So maybe he wants to develop some condos on that land. Oh, I got some comments already about the recaps. The episode recaps at the beginning of the show. I can't wait to hear what else you guys have to say about this. T. Nicole at YRChat.com says, I am just not liking how these shows have ended on little cliffhangers, but then we don't see the follow-up scenes. For instance, when JT made his first appearance to Victor and Victoria in the Newman office with their shocked expressions, and then the next show, it's a brand new scene, and we didn't see what happened after he walked in. The next show, and this is a good one that I missed, T. Nicole. I thought of it, but I forgot to mention it. Or I noticed it, but forgot to mention it. The next show, it was how Billy and JT first see each other, and then again we don't see what happened after that. They're just at Victoria's house. What else was said? How did they leave things at Victoria's house? We also see Sharon all upset, saying Scott is avoiding her, and never saw that as the audience with the last scene between them saying, I love you. Maybe it's just me noticing these little things, and the show has always been this way, but I feel like we're missing some things. No, it's not just you. No, I noticed all of those things, absolutely. But dang, I forgot about that, to mention about Billy and JT. There's this big old rivalry. Billy walks into Victoria's house, sees JT there, and there's this, hey, you know, moment like between them, and then nothing. It's just, why do the build-up if you're not going to do the payoff? That's how it feels. Ambreen at YRChat.com says, Mal has said that he wants each episode to be a new day, but this week has been going too fast. I thought I missed something when JT walked into Newman, and then the next episode was totally different. I wanted to see what would happen. So it's not even just about the recaps. It's like we're seeing this stylistic change that so far the people I've heard from have not enjoyed. But I know that there's other perspectives out there. Gary had a really good different perspective for me on the recap versus preview debate. In his voicemail, Gary says, I don't really need the recap, but the thing about the previews is I like to see them. We're used to seeing them. But back in the older days of soaps, we didn't have them. There was no press, no publicity, so you're watching the show, you don't know what you're going to get. The previews for the next day, maybe take away some of the excitement, the anticipation of the show a bit. I think that's a very, very valid point, and I remember feeling that way too when the previews started. But it's just that at this point I'm so used to them, I kind of like it. It seems like so far I haven't heard anybody say they really like the recap though. Is anybody liking the recap? Again, go to yrchat.com, leave me your comments. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about that. Also, thank you guys, I want to say, for the birthday wishes. I saw lots of people say happy birthday to my daughter for her first birthday. I pulled her in, and I got some voicemails, and I pulled her in to listen to those so she could get her happy birthdays, and that was just very kind of you. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that, so that was very nice. And little bit of news, Melissa Ordway just had her baby. So congratulations to her. This is just a little thing I read in Soaps in Depth. She had assumed that with her husband she was not able to conceive, so she adopted her first daughter, Olivia, and again, just assuming she couldn't conceive, and she ended up getting pregnant with her second daughter sort of by surprise, like, oh, didn't even know that could happen. So what a joy. Congratulations, Melissa. Her daughter's name is Sophie Jolie Gaston. How cute. Okay, well that does it for me for this week. I'm trying to give you some extra Y&R chat this week because I'd say there's probably a fairly good possibility that I'm going to do an audio only, probably abbreviated podcast for next week. So next Sunday is going to be Christmas Eve. So even though I believe I'm an early bird these days, trying to shuck and jive to get everything done very early on in the day, I have some baking and cooking and things I want to put together. So I might have to just do a quickie audio, maybe not even as long, just to get my Christmas treats made. I love cooking, I love baking, and I love eating, so I'm kind of excited about it, and I just want to make sure I have enough time to complete everything. So I hope you enjoyed this long and extra bonus version, I suppose. I tried extra hard for this Y&R chat, and forgive me if there will be a little bit of an abbreviation for the holiday next week. Christmas is on Monday. I always do this and then I forget. I think of this and I forget to follow up, but Christmas is on Monday, so I'm assuming there's no Christmas episode, but maybe possibly we'll pick back up on shows for Tuesday. I'm just saying I'm bracing myself for a short week. I don't know how short. I'm sure you guys will tell me, but check your local listings again. And please leave me your feedback anyway. yrchat.com is the website. From there, you can leave comments on the blog, or you can find the social media. You can go to the podcast on iTunes. You can call my voicemail, 309-588-4569. It's always a pleasure to hear from you guys. And I will be back next week regardless, so we'll chat about the show then. Okay, I love ya. Have a good one. Bye.